What's up, everyone? Back in my garage again with the 392, except the difference now is we've got a 2.5-inch rock crawler on this thing riding on the factory shocks. So today I'm going to be throwing in some Fox 2.0 monotubes, nothing too crazy. They were in stock. I had them in less than a week. Didn't have them quite in time when the lift was going on down at Core 4x4 down in Castle Rock, but shocks are pretty easy to do. I'll probably make it a lot more difficult than it needs to be, but I am doing front and rears. All right, guys, so to get those little nuts out or bolts, it is an 8mm, so I'm gonna get to work on removing both of those, and then I'll take this little plastic piece out of here, trim up here, take off the rear shock, and get to work on putting the rears on. All right, guys, so I got the bottom nut and bolt off. I'm working on the top one right now with a little bit of a long extension here. So I had to use a little bit of elbow grease to get it loose. And now it should be good to go. And there is the rear Fox off of this thing. Now we've got the new rears, so without further ado, or however you say it, rear shock. Now these are pretty self-explanatory as far as the way they mount, so I'm gonna get to work on placing the top, and then I'll set the bottom in there, and then I will be good to go. So what I kind of was mentioning earlier was, if I can get this situated up top, get the bolt fed through and get it started, and then kind of get this aimed down towards the bottom where the shock mounts on the axle, I can cut the strap to release it and hopefully guide it in with like a screwdriver or something of that nature, and then pop the bolt in through the bottom and hammer it down. So everything sounds good in theory. Whether or not it works out is a totally different story. So let me get this thing situated up in there, get the factory bolt fed back through, and see if my plan works, because I guess you just don't know until you try. So let's give it a shot. All right, guys and gals, so here's what I was talking about. I'm gonna set a flathead up right here, i.e. this big ass screwdriver, and I'm gonna cut this bad boy, and hoping that when this extends, it drops in there and I can put the nut and bolt in. So let's give it a shot. Now, it didn't work quite as planned, but you know what? I got the top in, I got the bottom on. So, yeah, so I'm gonna do the passenger side. I'll hammer all this down. I'll get to work up front. So, rear driver side, set in there, just gotta hammer it down. But I kinda wanted to show you, I mean, this kit's pretty legit. It's got these really nice adjustable rear sway bar end links. Obviously, new rear track bar, new coils, which are pretty beefy. Got new lowers and uppers as far as the control arms go. I mean, it's a pretty slick set. And then I don't know if you guys can see it over there. It has a nice little grease zerk on it. Keep that thing moving the way that it should. Obviously the rear coils. And now the new shocks, the new Foxes. All right guys, so we got the rear done. Use my trusty DeWalt to make it easy. Had a big extension. Once I took those little plastic pieces out of the inner rear wheel liner, it was pretty much a straight shot. Had a 5/8 just to kind of be on the safe side. Did end up coming in handy. And then obviously the 8mm, so that way you can remove the little bolts on the liners that, I don't know if you guys remember, were mounted kind of in this area right here. Now they're gone. Rear shocks are on. 18mm wrench, and then obviously 18mm socket. So I used the big screwdriver to guide the bottom end. All right guys, so I've got the rear shocks put on the 392 to match the 2.5-inch rock crawler kit that it's got on it now. I'm gonna attack the front. I'm gonna trim this little bit of wheel liner in here first. That should give me a straight shot to the top bolt, which is an 18mm. So this little piece right here is basically what I'm gonna be taking out. Gone. If you guys can see, that's what I got to get to right there, is that 18mm. So now I can get an extension in here with my drill, get this loosened up, not taken out but loosened up. I might trim this up a little bit more just so it's more of a straight shot, and then I'll work on the bottom. All right guys, so here we are under the Jeep, and yes, these are the new front lower control arms. They are beefy, they are adjustable. Nice little grease zerk on it, keep it clean, but the rest of the Jeep not so much. So here's kind of what I was mentioning up top. I want to try to get this thing, the bottom eyelet, angled so that way when I cut this strap, it just falls into place. All right guys, so as you can tell, I got the shock in. Now, here's what I did. I took this screwdriver that I got. I set it kind of up here, like so, because some of you guys and gals may ask. I set this up here like so, okay? Where the shock was sitting, I aimed it down, I cut the little strap off, and with a little bit of finesse, I got it popped in. So now I'm gonna tighten this down, tighten up the top, go over the passenger side. Change it up a little bit over here on the driver's side. Got a flashlight in there. So the liner on this side runs kind of up and does this little fancy little thing up here. When I trimmed it kind of similar to the driver's side, I didn't have a full shot, but if you guys can see it now, I have a straight shot to the 18mm up top. Alright guys, so just threw the Fox shocks on. So now it's kind of the true test to see how it does with the new rock crawler kit on it, 2.5-inch, new Fox shocks. Now back to ride quality. This thing, I mean honestly, just the way it sits right now, rides pretty dang well. I thought about maybe upgrading shocks down the road. I never get tired of that. I thought about upgrading shocks down the road just to kind of see how it would do, but I'm pretty content right now with the Foxes that are on it. Again, I just did the 2.0 monotubes, nothing crazy. Wanted something that allowed me to down travel that the factory ones didn't or couldn't, obviously, because they're just you know, factory rated Fox. So it does pretty well. I'm pretty content with it. Not going to complain. I like it. It rides smooth. I've kind of cruised from about 40-45 miles an hour. We're just doing just a hair over 70 back there, about 71, so not too bad. All right, guys. I don't know if you can hear me. It's kind of windy out here right now, but I wanted to show you kind of the end result with the Jeep, with the lift, with the new shocks, kind of where she's sitting right now. I mean, sits pretty dang good. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, I'm a huge fan. I think it looks freaking awesome. Now, I'll get a little closer up shot for you as far as what I did to it today, what's been done to it, what I had to do to it, just as a little recap, kind of like I said. But do you guys want to hear this thing? Because I think it sounds pretty good. Now, again, like I said, that's the stock exhaust. Obviously, it does have kind of the loud exhaust mode turned on, but it is what it is. So let's get to it. Here's what I did back here. So back here in the wheel well, there's a little plastic piece that covers this up right here. I took that out. It was 3 8mm bolts, gave me all the access I needed to replace that rear shock with the Fox one that's on there. That's set up for a 2 to 3 inch lift. Up front, I did a little bit more. Up front, I did have to trim this little piece out right here. It gave me a straight shot to the 18 mil up top, 18 mil on the bottom as well. That's all I did. Bolted right in. Slid it up in there, guided the bottom half down in there. Once I released that little kind of strap that holds them compressed, good to go. Now, here just to kind of give you an idea. So I got the wheel kind of turned sideways. Obviously, new front sway bar and links courtesy of the Krawler kit. It does have the new track bar, obviously new coils and bump stops, and then obviously the new Foxes that I threw on there today. So the one thing that I can say, kind of like I'd mentioned earlier when I was driving it, was it drives pretty good. I mean, it's a 2.5 inch kit. It comes with new upper and lower control arms, the track bar, the bump stops, the coils, all the corresponding hardware. Everything is there. But I think I'm just going to kind of show you guys how this thing's sitting right now, because with the 37s on it, with the 2.5 inch kit, I think it sits perfect.